How's it going, everyone? This is Josh from Football Talk with JB, and I'm joined by. Are you there, Coach?
Hey, yeah, sorry, I'm here.
Uh, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, my name is Josh Thacker. I've been around for a little while. I've been coaching for a little while. Recently retired from football, or tried to. Now I'm doing a little stuff across the state with some teams, but just happy to be here with you guys.
Yes, sir, and I'm happy to have you on, Coach, and it's really nice to meet you.
Yes, sir. We appreciate y'all.
Well, Coach, can you? I guess I want to start. How did you get your start with coaching?
Oh, me, a long time ago, a man by the name of Johnny Wright kind of gave me a start at Hillcrest High School in Tuscaloosa, and from there it kind of blossomed to a lot of different areas. And Coach Bobby Wallace at the University of West Alabama and Coach Will Hall, who's now the head coach at Southern Miss. I got to mentor under those guys for a few springs at West Alabama, and just kind of grew from there. And then from there, kind of reconnected with Coach Wright at Leroy High School, and from there it really grew.
Yes, sir, and you said you're like you was an assistant for a while before you got that first offensive coordinator job at Leroy.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah,
Was a position coach for a while at a few different schools, and then when Coach Danny Powell left and went across the river at Leroy, he went to Jackson High School. Coach Wright got the head coaching job over there, and I actually lived with Coach Wright in Leroy. And he and we had some good times over there, and that was my first coordinator job. And then from there, took a head coaching job at Pickens Academy. From Pickens Academy, took a head coaching job at Morgan Academy, and then from Morgan Academy, we went to Prattville High School as a co-offensive coordinator, alongside Gene Cherizal, who is the pass game coordinator at Hewitt-Trussville now. Our head coach was Caleb Ross, and after there, we left and went to Demopolis High School with Coach Brian Seymour, and then Coach Seymour took the Trinity job. So we went to Montgomery, and just recently was the offensive coordinator for Coach Granger Shook at Pike Road High School.
Yes, sir. So you've worked under a lot of great coaches across the state.
We have been fortunate with that. A lot of great coaches, a lot of good men, and among everything, just fantastic coaching.
Yes, sir. Caleb Ross, he's at Tulane with Coach John Summerall now, isn't he?
He is. Yes, he is.
Yeah, I know he was at Troy with, and then Coach Summerall took the job at Tulane, so he followed him to Tulane. Yeah, he was a fantastic coach. You were at Prattville when Prattville was winning state championships.
We were a little bit after that. Coach Ross had came back, and I can't remember what year Coach Ross came back. We were there during COVID, right before COVID, right after COVID, and but the staff that he had put together, Justin Jones was our defensive coordinator. He's now the head coach at
Beauregard.
Beauregard High School.
Yes.
Coach Marcus Garner was our D-line coach. He was recently the head coach at Carver High School in Montgomery.
Oh, wow.
Mitchell Thornton, who's one of the best offensive line coaches in the state of Alabama, he's now a principal at Prattville High School, was on our staff. I mean, we were loaded up. Gene Cherizal was our wide receiver coach, co-offensive coordinator. Like I said, he's the pass game coordinator now at Hewitt-Trussville High School. It was just a staff loaded with talent.
Yes, sir. I didn't know Caleb Ross had came back to Prattville. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so. Coach Ross left Opelika. Had a great year at Opelika. Spent a year there, I think, and then of course when your hometown comes calling, you got to listen to them. And Coach Ross decided to come home.
Oh, absolutely, and so I know I don't have a whole lot of experience with AI, like the Independent Association. Can you tell me like is it a little bit different? Like how different is it from you've been at both AHSAA and AISA? So how does AISA differ from AHSAA?
I think it's a little different now with some teams moving over into the public school world. You know, when we were there, the league was a little bit bigger.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, you know, number one is always going to be depth in terms of number of athletes you put on the field. Number two is going to be number of coaches on the staff that are on the field with everybody. And those kids in the AISA really resemble, you know, 1, 2, and 3A programs where the guys play every snap all night long. So those are the two biggest differences. Of course, there's, you know, other things that go into effect with the AHSAA and AISA in terms of facilities and things like that. But overall, it's not too dissimilar from small school football.
Oh, yeah, and I've heard in the future they're talking about making it to where AISA schools can play AHSAA schools, and I think that'd be pretty good because you see a lot of these smaller schools, they have a hard time like it's not just the big time schools like Saraland and Montgomery Catholic and Central Phoenix City that have problems finding teams to play them. A lot of, like, especially in 1A, I notice a lot of schools only have 8 or 9 games on their schedule because they're having a harder time finding teams to play them. So I think that would help out. I feel like there'd be more football. It'd help a lot of those smaller schools out.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun for everybody, especially in terms of anytime you can lessen travel, that's a good thing for kids. Yep. Keep them off the roads. Anytime you can create new rivalries, I think that's a fun thing. You know, to be honest with you, the small schools, especially the small school powerhouses, they have a lot of trouble finding games because the big schools don't want to play them. It doesn't really benefit the larger schools. Yep. And then, of course, the smaller schools can't really deal with some of them a lot of times. So I do understand those guys having trouble finding games.
Oh, absolutely. Like I know Leroy, for example, last year I think they only played 9 regular season games, and there's not a whole lot of. I mean, I don't really blame them. There's not a whole lot of teams out there that want to play Leroy because I mean Leroy. I mean they lost a lot from last year's team, but the past 3 or 4 years, you know, we played them 2019 in the semifinals. I think 2020 they went to the semifinals and played Abbeville. So, I mean that's it. That was in 2A. They dropped down to 1A and they've been fairly dominant in 1A.
Yeah, they're a very proud tradition over there. You know, the same people that were walking the sidelines and parents and you know, graduates that were walking the sidelines in the 90s are still over there helping cook and helping paint fields and everything like that. It's just it's an amazing place just because of the people that are there. It's a lot of fun to be in that area, and they love their football.
Oh, absolutely. And so what would you say, like, well, which do you prefer? You've coached both at small schools and big schools. Do you kind of prefer like the big schools or coaching at big schools or small schools?
They both their benefits, and to me, I'm a relationship person. I love dealing with people and I love dealing with communities. And of course, when you're in a small school, you get to deal with a closer, I'm not going to say closer, a smaller group of people. So the small schools have their benefits. Of course, you have the large schools do too. You get to see a lot of people and hang out with them. So I don't personally have a preference in terms of large or small schools. They both have great benefits.
Oh, absolutely. And I went to well, up until my 11th grade year, I went to Tallahassee High School, which I live in Tallahassee. And then my junior and senior years when I transferred over to Reeltown. So I've only been, like, Tallahassee's kind of, you know, they fluctuate between 4A and 5A, so they're kind of in the middle, but when they're in 5A, they're on the smaller side of 5A. So really I've only experienced small school ball. So I mean, going to that Auburn Opelika game, you know, that was kind of a culture shock because I'm not, especially with the amount of players on each team, I'm not used to seeing that. So, you know, even Montgomery Catholic, they have a lot of players on their team too, you know. So
yeah,
So
Yeah, man. Yeah, great atmospheres they all put together. I'm gonna tell you the atmosphere at Opelika and the atmosphere at Auburn are really unrivaled. And I know Kirk puts together a great atmosphere. I saw some pregame highlights of their game with Andalusia 2 years ago, I think it was.
yes.
Stadium was full. Smoke coming off the grills, hanging out over the stadium. You could hardly see the stadium, and it was packed out. It was a lot of fun to see.
Oh yes, sir. And they're continuing that rivalry this year because they're in the same region. But those Montgomery Catholic Andalusia games, that's some of the best football I've seen. I haven't been to a game live, but as far as physical football and the atmosphere, you can tell the atmosphere because Andalusia they travel well no matter where they go. That's a very tradition-rich program as well. And Montgomery Catholic, they might not have the tradition that Andalusia has, but that he's definitely building a tradition over there.
Oh, absolutely. He does a fantastic job. Coach Trent Tether does a great job at Andalusia. I had some good friends on that staff, Matt Malone being one of them, and I know that was exciting times for both staffs when all that was going on.
Yes, sir. Matt Malone, he's now the head coach at Carroll of Ozark.
He is.
I'm trying to set up an interview with him in the future, but we've been kind of running into problems doing that. And then I do have an interview. I am going to set up an interview with one of the coaches on Andalusia's staff one day. So for my viewers, go ahead and be prepared for that. We'll talk some Andalusia football.
That'd be a good one with Coach Malone. He's one of the best offensive minds in the state of Alabama.
Oh, absolutely.
I would never tell him that, but I'd tell you that.
Oh, absolutely. He Andalusia, it does help when you have guys like Dorian Crittenden and Jamari Burnett. That definitely helps. Both of those guys are huge. Those are some huge running backs. And that offensive line, Andalusia's always got a good. They're very, very much built in the trenches, which is my style of football right there, built in the trenches.
There you go. I know Coach Matt at Reeltown loves to run it.
Oh yes, sir. I love when we line up in that wishbone and just pound it right, wear an opponent down, which we do have the personnel now to go to a spread attack when we need to, but a lot of it's still working from under center.
That's right.
Yeah, but so you was at Pike Row what last year you said?
Yes.
So I know Kason Myers, he was just a freshman last year. How challenging was it? How did you kind of with him being a freshman, you obviously had to kind of help with his development. How did you go about developing a freshman quarterback?
Well, Kate, a little bit different than most freshmen. He doesn't need a lot of development in terms of the football side of it. You can put him inside pretty much any kind of system and he's going to be successful. And that's a testament to his parents and the coaches that came before me and his quarterback coaches and everybody like that. So not a lot of tweaking to do with Case. And I know Coach Jonathan Chandler's doing a great job with him over there this year. And those guys have a ton of respect for Coach Chandler and his offensive system. So they're having a lot of fun inside of it. But with Case and, being a freshman, we just limited some things that he did. We didn't go into full field reads. We didn't really allow him to pick a side in terms of man zone matchups and things like that. So, we just kind of tried to limit the options that he had, and just kind of let him go out there and operate inside of a system like that. We ran a lot of tempo, had a really good backfield behind us, had a really good slot receiving core and outside receivers. So we were able to go fast and put up some points behind Kaysen, and I think he did a great job with the offense last year, and I think he's doing a great job with the offense this year.
Oh, absolutely. He's a fantastic quarterback. I can definitely see the talent, and he'll be playing on Saturdays and possibly Sundays one day too.
I hope he does. I'd love Yeah, he's a great young man. He deserves everything that he.
Yes, yes, sir. I definitely like to see that too. I love to see the guys from our state succeed. Uh,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yes. Uh, so I let's see. Well, I know you're doing a little bit of work across the state now. What kind of goes into what you're doing? Like I don't know if I'm.
Well, we you know we were fortunate throughout the years to be under great coaches and make fantastic. And we stay in contact with a lot of those coaches and staffs, and different schools come to see them, or vice versa. And people reach out for advice on certain things, or people reach out for game planning advice, or people reach out for film advice, or practice structure, program structure, strength conditioning, program development, anything like that. People that have a question about how we did it somewhere else, or how we did it ourselves, or what have you learned along the way from people? What did you not like? What did you like? And we're just able to provide that to staffs across the state of Alabama.
Yes, sir, and I think that's a great thing you're doing. That being able to, you know, uh, you were in the profession, so now you're able to give back, to the profession that where you had the fortune to be in, and I'm an aspiring football coach myself, so I'm looking at going to school for that, for special education and football coaching. So I hope to be able to do some of the stuff you've done one day myself.
Yeah, that'd be great. The world always needs more teachers and good men to be around good children.
Oh yes, sir, and that's what it's about. It's about the kids. It's like I keep going back to Coach Johnson at Montgomery Catholic, but like he said, that if you're not in it for the kids, you're not in it for the right reason.
That's right. That's right.
And then as Coach Johnson at Reeltown loves to say, keep the main thing the main thing, and that the kids are the main thing. I believe that's what he means when he says that.
He knows what he's talking about.
Oh, he does. We love Coach Johnson at Reeltown. Uh, obviously I love. Obviously, I follow Montgomery Catholic football too. I had the fortune of meeting Coach Kirk Johnson, and I follow Tallahassee football now with Coach L.A. O'Neal there. Coach L.A. is actually, him and Coach Johnson are the guys that they inspired me to want to coach. They're kind of my role models for as far as coaching. Great men.
Coach O'Neal could inspire you to run through a wall for somebody. He's a good one.
Oh, absolutely, he could, and that's one of my regrets is not playing football my senior year at Reeltown, because I think I would have it would have benefited me a lot to be able to play under Coach Johnson and Coach L.A. and just the entire coaching staff at Reeltown, because they're all we have a fantastic staff. A lot of them have been there for a long time, so it's a very tight knit staff, and I think being able to play in that culture would have benefited me a lot, and I might have gotten to college sooner and already been into coaching now. So that's one of my regrets right there.
Well, man, it's never too late to do something you love.
Oh, absolutely, and I'm only 24 years old, so I still have plenty of time. I don't want to do it too late, so I'm looking at getting into schools now. I'm probably looking at Huntington, which is a great school that's produced a lot of great coaches at all levels from here in the state of Alabama.
Man, it sure has. Zach Golson is a good one. Granger Shook's a good one. Coach Johnson's a good one. A lot of guys that came out of there.
Oh yes, sir, absolutely, and I'm hoping to be another great coach one day in that line of coaches.
Yes, sir, absolutely, man. I hope you can. If I can ever help you, just let me know.
Oh yes, sir, I really appreciate that, and I appreciate you coming on, cause I don't want to keep you too long, but I do appreciate you coming on, and I've learned a lot today. I learned a lot, so I really appreciate that. And I guess I want to end off with this. I guess this is for me and anybody else that wants to get into coaching. What's any advice you can give to anybody that's new to the profession or looking to get into the profession?
Just be willing to work hard. Do right by people. The biggest thing for me always was you're not ever going to agree on everything, you and your coaches, but when you leave the meeting or leave the staff room, everybody needs to be on the same page. You need to get behind your coaches, get behind your coordinators, and believe in what they're doing, believe in what they're saying, and just be a hard worker. If you see something needs to be done, go get it done. And just work hard, appreciate people, do right by kids, and you'll be just fine.
Absolutely, Coach. And I really needed this interview because a lot of my interviews, I've interviewed guys that are currently coaching. So a lot of it's asking them about their team and stuff. But, I haven't asked. That's something I should have asked. A lot of them is about it, giving advice. But I've learned a lot today. A lot about what goes into programs. And I learned a lot about your coaching journey. And I'm really happy that we had this interview.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. You got my number. If I can ever help you, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And all right, Coach. Have a good day.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one. Thank you, buddy.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. All right. That was Coach Josh Thacker. He is it's kind of like that Johnny Cash song. I've been everywhere, man. He's been all over the state, but this was an interview that I really needed, and I really do appreciate him coming on and interviewing with me. And I can tell he's really passionate about the kids, and he did a really good job. Pike Road was a semifinal team last year. He was at Prattville. He had the opportunity to coach with a lot of great coaches across the state, so. That's something that I hope I'll be able to do one day. So I appreciate it, Coach Thacker. And with that being said, peace out, everybody. Thank you for watching.